Okay, this is going to be pretty much a disastrous video because there's one crack, there's no edits, there's no going back, but welcome to Unboxing Day on Boxing Day. Package just arrived, and you're going to look at it at the same time I look at it. The thing I want to caution is that the prototyping here in the States is limited, not nearly the quality and accuracy that you're going to get out of Panda. And so as we look at this, I'll just make some various comments about how I expect quality of a particular piece to change. Again, I want to reiterate that I promised things in the Kickstarter that really cannot change all that much, as I've learned. But there are some minor components which were never presented on Kickstarter because we basically only had so much time. And those minor components, I will be soliciting some feedback on. I don't think those are game changers as far as making some design tweaks. Also, I wasn't able to do every component. I only had so much time. I had to get these main prototypes back and get a look at them. And the reason I need to look at them is because before I build 1,500 of these, I want to make sure that I've hit it on the head. Lastly, the the management of margins and bleeds by the American prototyper is substandard. So I'm just going to tell you that right out of the gate. So you're going to see some things. You're going to say, hey, that's too close to the edge, or the edges don't seem balanced. Understand that we're dealing with not Panda. And that I've been assured, for example, Panda made Castles of Mad King Ludwig. For those, it's my favorite all-time game. But obviously the margins and the bleed on that had to be managed so carefully to preserve the stone walls of those rooms and make it so that the doorways lined up. So, all that said, let's get going. I have over here the original prototype. This box, don't be alarmed, that's a 2015 or 2016 box prototype lid. So here we go. Very excited, a little bit nervous. First thing I'm seeing is, I'm going to push this out of the way. I got a static cam, so I want to make sure these line up. So these are the punch boards that are used by this prototyper. Hey, look, we got one of our stretch goals to lead the way. The barn. So I'm going to pop these out. One thing to notice about these punch boards that are used is they don't have, first of all, they don't round the corners at all, which is not going to be what Panda will do. The corners will be rounded. Secondly, it's a laser cut, so they don't have, darn it, I should have pulled out, hold on, let me see if I can pull out. Just pulling out Great Western Trail to get to one of their So here on Great Western Trail, you see a couple of things. You see a rounded corner, and then you see a slight bevel to the front edge. That'll be present in these, so when we look at these two, we would have a rounded corner. I like what I see. These are all service tiles here. Stack my service tiles. If you wanted an example, I'll pull the service tile. We'll get an old and a new. So there are the two service tiles, old and new. I'm not going to do that with every component. We'll be here all day. So let me keep banging along. It's another service tile. Getting now into the sporting tile for the glare. I really like these. Couple of things I did, a couple of flourishes to be aware of. The back side of the tile, to give you a look at the back side, I put a rose. I was going to put a Tudor rose, but all the looks of the exact Tudor rose, when I shrunk them to that size, it looked like a blob. So I went with a more traditional rose look to indicate when it's in your organizer whoop, sorry, I didn't mean to bump. It's in an organizer that has been played. In addition, I have another accent, which is for the start tiles. This is, for example, for the sporting start tile. There is a picture of an elaborate building, a la a manor house, and that graphic indicates that this is a start tile, and this is what should be showing in your organizer to start. So we've got sporting. Now we're on to prestige. The one thing I'm noticing that I may have to evaluate is the colors are somewhat more muted. This is a little bit of a lighter purple, more of a Wimbledon purple than we had first started with on Kickstarter. So here, for example, is the parlor. That's a good looking tile. I like how that looks. Start side front, played side rose on back. The monuments are one area, as you can see them on the stack there. The monuments are the one area that I think there will be a little bit of tweaking. But I like these. So the question of tweaking, I had one graphic design artist who recommended to use the frame of the top and the bottom to actually frame the monument tile. There was someone who objected to having an actual animal head. I did get rid of the lion and downgraded to a pig. Hopefully that doesn't bother those, but that one is sort of going to be within the frame, but these rise up to the frame. So those are the monuments. Gargoyle. More service tiles. One of these service tiles is the start service tile for the butler's room. There. Now we get into the these are the essentials tiles. When you're dealing with an essentials tile that has a premium associated with it, here's an example. The premium is in the upper right, but when it's played on the back side, the rows indicate it's played. The back side is always to be down in the builder's market, so the rows doesn't interfere with the value transaction for appreciating or discounting various tiles. Those are brown. And we're on to estate tiles. One of the things I had to do for an aesthetic touch was that every name had to have a two-line name. So like for here, this used to be the gazebo, but if you had the gazebo all by itself, then they tended to get misaligned. So there was the need to get creative and come up with names that always would take 2 lines. You can see here the Manor Conservatory, the Equestrian Corral, and so these are estate tiles. By the way, this is just a little close to the edge. I think I'm going to probably improve the margin probably by a 1/2 millimeter and bring that more toward the center. And there we go. We have our improvement tiles. And I have to tell you, scale 1 to 10 of what I was looking forward to seeing, I'm really pleased. I mean, let me pop this off and go for a walk. I think the colors are the right color for the game. Colors for the game. I think the backgrounds are subtle, like I had wanted. I'm going to want to see these laid out in the organizer and see them on the supply board. But so far, I'm feeling a 9. I want to manage my margins a little bit better. Panda's going to be very helpful in getting that done. And I also want to continue to try to refine the look of the monument tile. So, boom.